Hey everyone, this is Neha from Edureka, and I welcome you all to this live session where I will be talking about various Java programs. Let's take a look at the agenda for the session. Here, I am dividing Java programs into two sections. First section will comprise of basic Java programs like calculator operations, factorial of a number, Fibonacci series, palindrome, pattern programs, reversing a string, mirror inverse program, etc. And in the next section, I will explain you some advanced Java programs like binary search, heap sort, ArrayList, hash map, circular linked list, and moving further, I will also tell you how to write a Java program to connect to a database and also a program to calculate the transpose of a matrix. So these are the various programs that I will be covering in this session. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda. Now let's get started. First, let's begin with the basic Java programs. The first program on the list is calculator program in Java. So in this program, I will tell you how to perform basic calculator operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of two numbers using switch case. Let's take a look at the code. So you can see here I have created a class called calculator, and this is the package that I have to import because I want to read the input, or else I can just specify java.util.star package as well. So inside the class calculator, I have created a main method, and now I'm using a scanner to read the new input. That is, I want to read two inputs because I want to perform operations on two particular numbers, and that's the reason I have to read two inputs. Then after that, what I'll say enter the two numbers, and after entering the two numbers, it has to read the input. So that is why I'm using the scanner class. So I am creating first and second number. That is, the next double method reads the next double from the keyboard. It means it scans the next token of the input as a double, which implies it will read a double data type values. Simple. So basically what I'll do, I'll read the first and the second number. And after that, it will ask what operation you want to do, either plus, subtraction, multiplication or division. So it will say enter an operator. And after that, I want to read the next element that is present at 0 index. That is character at 0 index. Okay. So after all this, I'll again print the result also in the double format. So that's the reason I am giving the result data type as also double. Now the point here is I want to perform the operations. So how will I do? I will do with the help of a switch case. So switch operator, that is this one, case is first one plus. So result is equal to first plus second if I want to do addition. And after that I will break this. Again for subtraction, I'll say result is equal to first minus second and then break. Again for the next case, multiplication, result is equal to first into second. And finally for division, first divided by second. After all that, if the operator doesn't match any case constant, then just print error, operator is not correct. And I have to return back to the main method. If the condition matches, then print %.lf, %c, %.lf, because first number is what? The first number is a double, so LF is a format for that. And %c is for the operator because it is an operator. Again, %lf, like $LF will be for the second number. Again, that is a double. And the result will be also the same because even result is a double. And that is why this is a format specifier for that. So this is how you need to write a calculator program in Java. Now, let's run and check the output. So I'll run it as a Java application. Now let's check the output. As I told, it's asking to enter the two numbers. So let's enter much bigger number. So this and this one. So it's asking what is the operator that I want. So I say I want to add these two numbers. So I'll say plus. So you can see that it's adding the two numbers. Now say I want to perform the division operation. So I'll give a number like this and the second number will be the smaller one. So I want to do the division. So you can see again, it did the exact division. Yes. Similarly, you can carry out multiplication and subtraction operations as well. So this is how you need to execute a calculator program in Java. I hope you understood this. Now let's move further and see the next program on the list. The next program that we have on the list is Factorial program in Java. So what is a factorial of a number? A factorial of a number, say n, will be the product of all the positive numbers less than or equal to n. So if you want to calculate a factorial of 4, so it will be 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So if it is 5 or 6, it will be 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Or you can also write it like 6 factorial is equal to 6 into 5 into 4 factorial. Yes? So now let's write a program to calculate factorial of a number. Here I just don't want to write as factorial is equal to factorial into I, something like that. But I want to calculate it with the help of a recursion. So what is recursion? Recursion is nothing but a function that calls itself. So first you have to call the user-defined function and then you have to do function calling using recursion. Simple. So let's see how this works. So I have created a class called Factorial and I have created a main method inside that. And again, I'm using a scanner class to read the input. And after that, I want to scan the nextInt because I want to store the entered value in a variable. So what I'll do, I'll use nextInt, that is scanner.nextInt. And after that, next what I'm doing, I'm creating a factorial of type integer and calling fact of a num. Num is nothing but the integer that I'm going to scan over here. And then after all the operations that will happen in this method, it will print the factorial of a number. So now let's see what this fact has to do. So I'm creating it as static int and I'm passing n as a variable. So again, I'm creating a output of type int because again it will be of type integer only. Next, if n is equal to 1, so factorial of 1 will be 1 factorial is equal to 1. So it has to return 1. But if the factorial of a number n is not 1, then it will calculate the output as factorial of n minus 1 into n. So say if factorial number is 5. So 5 minus 1 will be 4 into 5. Correct? So 4 5s are 20. So that will be factorial of 5 minus 1, that is 4 into 5. So what will be the fact of 4? Fact of 4 will be 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 into 5, which is equal to 120. Yes. So after that, I will just return the output. And then this will go back to here and say int factorial is equal to factorial of a number. So fact of number will be this one and it will say factorial of an entered number is this. So now let's run the program and check whether the actual output matches with this expected output or not. Okay. So I'll run the program and let's check for the output. So it's telling me enter the number. I'll enter 5. See, factorial of an entered number is 120. So the factorial of a number that we calculated and the one that we got in the output is fine. Correct? Now say I want to calculate the factorial of a bigger number, say 11. So when I enter the number, it said the factorial of an entered number is this. Correct? So this is how you can calculate a factorial of a given number. Now let's move further and take a look at the next program. The next program is Fibonacci series program. So what is Fibonacci series? Fibonacci series has numbers in which each number is a sum of the two preceding numbers. So for example, 0 plus 1 is equal to 1, right? So this one is a sum of 0 and 1, and this 2 is a sum of 1 and 1, and 3 is a sum of 1 and 2, 5, 2 and 3, So 8 will be the sum of 3 and 5. So the next number will be 8 plus 5, which is 13. And again, the next number will be 13 plus 8, that is 21. So this is all about the Fibonacci series and the Fibonacci numbers. Now let's write a program and check how it works. So now I have written a program here to calculate the Fibonacci series. So first what I'll do, so I want the Fibonacci series up to 100, that is up to this n. So that's the reason I've given up to 100. And then I have given T1 as 0 and T2 as 1. That is the first and the second number. So it will start from 0 and 1 and again 2 and again it will continue. So if say I have given T1 as 3 and T2 as 5. So it will start from 8. But I want to start from the initial natural number series. That's the reason I'm giving it from 0 and 1. Then what I will do, I'll just print it in this format, that is up to n, which is 100. Correct? And then I want to print the value of T1 and then the value of T2. And again, it should continue. And this will continue unless and until T1, the value of this is less than or equal to n. That is, I'm using the loop to check unless and until this number is equal to less than or equal to 100, it should go on printing. And then here I'm writing 3 steps for adding the numbers. First, sum will be T1 plus T2, then assign the value of T1 to T2 and then assign the value of T2 to sum. So the whatever is the third number is the sum of the first preceding 2 numbers. So that's how it works. So now let's run the program and check the output. So you can see here, it's printing the numbers up to how much? 100, right? So first 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13 and up to 89. And now if you add the 55 and 89, it will exceed 100, right? So that's the reason it's not exceeding the 100. So say if I give here as 1000, okay? And the T1 value as 8 and the T2 value will be 13, correct? Run as a Java application. Now let's check what will be the output. So see, it's starting from 8, 13, 21 and up to 1000 it is printing. So this is the Fibonacci series. And this is how you need to write the program and execute it. I hope you understood. Now let's see the next program. So next I will be talking about the Palindrome program in Java. So what is a palindrome? It's nothing but a sequence which will be same even if it is written in the backward way. For example, madam, if written in the other way, it will be madam. For example, dad, D-A-D. Even if you reverse it, it will be D-A-D itself. So it's nothing but it will be same even if it is written backwards. Let's write the program for this. Okay, so this is the program. I have created a class called Palindrome. And first, I'm writing a method called checkPalindrome. And I want to input a string because I want to check whether the given string is a palindrome or not. Always first I'll set boolean result is equal to true. And then I'll say the length of the palindrome will be input.length because whatever input I'm giving will be the same length. So that's the reason I'm writing it in this way. And now I'm using for loop to execute the palindrome. So first I is equal to 0 and I less than length by 2. So whatever the string I have, say for example I have dad. The length of that will be how much? 0, 1 and 2. I want to divide the string by 2 and then I want to increment the I value. Correct? So this is the logic of this. Correct? And after that I'm checking if the input dot character that is present at I is not equal to the character that is present at length minus I minus 1. So if the length is 3, I value is 1 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 minus 1 is 1. And the character that is present at I, if this is also suppose say 1 and this also turns out to be 1, then it will say result is equal to true. Else it will say result is equal to false. If the result is false, then simply break it. If it is true, then print the result. That is palindrome. And now in my main method, I am using a scanner class to read the input. And I'm using sc.nextLine to scan the input of the next element. Okay. And then I'm finally calling the function that is check palindrome of the string. Why? Because this is a string. So that's the reason I'm giving check palindrome of string. So now let's run and check the output. Say I'll write it as Madam. See, this is true. Now say I want to enter one more string, that is race car, and see that even that is a palindrome. So I'll give a non-palindrome string now. Say Java. This is not a palindrome, so it will say false. So the result that we are getting here is based on the Boolean result, either true or false. And that will be printed in this format. Yes. So the input will be the input that we are going to enter. Whether it is a palindrome, if yes, it will print true, or else it will print as false. Simple. So this is how you need to write the program and execute it. I hope you understood this. Now let's move further and understand the next program. So next we have permutation and combination program in Java. So what is permutation and combination? So it is nothing but the different arrangements of a given number of elements taken one by one or some or all at a time. So if I want to calculate a permutation of a number, so I'll give the value of n will be 4, say ABCD, and R value will be 2, that is the size. So when I calculate it, it will say n factorial, that is 4 factorial, divided by 4 minus 2 factorial, which is equal to 12. Because 4 minus 2 is 2 factorial, and I can give 4 into 3 into 2 factorial divided by 2 factorial. So 4 into 3 is a 12. Simple. And now we are going to write a program for calculating this permutation and combination as well. So suppose say I want to calculate the combination. So if I have the same set, say 4 and 2 as a value of n and r, but the formula varies because it is n factorial. It's nothing but permutation of a number divided by r factorial. That is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So this whole thing is nothing but the permutation, and just the addition that we have is r factorial. So that's the reason when you calculate this, it will be 6. I hope you understood this. Now let's check the program. So first, I'm going to create a static integer. That is, it's nothing but first I'm going to calculate the factorial of a number that I'm going to enter. So fact is equal to 1, and I'm giving int as I. So for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to num. Num will be what? The value of n, and increment the I. So I want to calculate first the factorial of a number, that is fact is equal to fact into I. And then I want to return that. And now the actual part comes over here. So whatever it is going to calculate the factorial, because as I have told, it's nothing but n factorial divided by n minus r into r factorial, right? So next, inside the main method, I will give two numbers as n and r, and I want to scan the input for the value of n and r, so I'm giving scan.nextInt. And finally, while printing the output, I'll say NCR is equal to factorial of n divided by factorial of n minus r into factorial of r. And again, for NPR, that is permutation of a number, it is simply factorial of n divided by factorial of n minus r. Simple. Now let's run and check the output. So say, let's take the same set. N value is 4 and R value is 2. So you got NCR is 6 and NPR is 12. Now let's take some other values and check whether it will work or not. Say I want to take N value as 20 and R value as 4. So you can see even it is able to print the NCR and NPR of factorial. Yes, even in minus, even in negative values. So yes, this is how you need to calculate the permutation and combination of a given number. Now let's move further and understand the next program. So next we have pattern programs in Java. So here I'm going to discuss two different patterns. One is the alphabet pattern using stars, and the other one will be the diamond pattern. So first I'll tell you how to print this particular alphabet A pattern using stars. Okay. So I have created a class for pattern A, and I'm going to display. It's all about dealing with three values, that is I, J and N. That is the outer for loop, inner for loop, and the value of N. So that's the reason I'm creating a method called void display of int N. So for outer for loop, that is for the number of lines, I'll say I is equal to 0, I less than n and I plus plus. So for inner for loop logic execution, I'm going to say j is equal to 0, j less than or equal to n by 2 because it has to depend, right? So it depends on the n value divided by 2 and then increment the j. I want to print 2 columns. Why? Because you can say there is 2 columns here, right? So for that, I'm using if j is double equal to 0 and is also equal to n by 2 and I is not equal to 0. And again, I want to print the first line of alphabet. So what I'll say, if I equal to 0 and j is not equal to 0, and also one more condition, j is not equal to n by 2 or I is equal to n by 2. If this is the entire condition, say this one, then you have to print star, else print a space. Correct? So make sure that you understand this condition. First, it compares the j, then it compares the I, and then it compares j is not equal to n by 2 or I is equal to n by 2. Then you have to print star, else you have to print a space. And after that, I'll just give system.out.println. And now inside the main method, I'll scan the integer and then I'll create a new object of pattern and then I'll say a.display. I've given 7 because I want the length of the variable to be 7. So that is nothing but the int n. You remember, display is the method and n is the value. So I'm calling this function with respect to this. Okay. Now let's run and check the output. So you can see it has printed the A pattern. Yes. So this is how you need to do that. So now let's understand one more pattern, that is diamond shape pattern. Yes. So again for this, it will deal with 3 values, that is I, j, loop and n. And I'm giving space as 1 because I want 1 space between each of them. So first I'll enter the number of rows, say 5 or 4 or 3, whatever you prefer. And then I'm going to scan the input. And then space is equal to n minus 1. If it is 3, then it is 3 minus 1. That is 2. It depends. So I'm going to write the for loop for j first. So I'll say if j is equal to 1 less than or equal to n and increment it. So this is for printing the spaces. If j is equal to 1 and less than or equal to n, then increment it. Inside that, if I also is equal to 1 and is less than or equal to space, then increment. So in this, what you have to do, you have to print the space. Okay. So for first, what it will do, it will print 1 space. Then decrement the space. And after that, what it will say, and now for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 2 into j minus 1. So if j value is 2, then 2 into 2 will be how much? 4 minus 1. That is 3. Yes. And I should be equal to 3. Then print a star. Say like this. Between each of them, there should be a space. Okay. Else print a space again. So if again it will say simply to print 1 star over here as well. If again the value of the j will be decremented. So this is how you need to go on printing, and again above as well. Okay. Again now give space is equal to 1. Once you will give space as n minus 1, then you will decrement the space, and then you will give the space for positive integers. Again the same loop will repeat over here. So first I'll write the j loop, that will be up to n minus 1, and then I loop up to less than or equal to space. Then after this, I will increment the space. So you can see the sequence over here. First, space was n minus 1, depending on the number. Then space got decremented. And from there, again, space was equal to 1. And then space was incremented. Yes. And now I want to print the stars after incrementing the space. So that will be up to I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 2 into n minus j minus 1. So say n value is 5 and j value is 4. 5 minus, and say j value is 3. So 5 minus 3 will be 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So based on that, you have to go on printing the stars. And after that, just print a blank space and complete the program. So I want to run this as a Java application. And let's check for the output. So on executing, it will ask you to enter the number, that is the number of lines, or you can say the number of rows as well. So I'll say I want a pattern for 6 rows. So see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 6 over there as well. So it's nothing but based on I, j and n values. It just depends on how you configure your I and j values. Yes. So that's all about patterns in Java. You can similarly print other patterns like say just a pyramid or lower pyramid, or you want to print other patterns like P, T, E, anything. Just understand the logic and just you can go on printing that. And if you have any queries, you can just ping your queries in the chat box and we will help you with that. I hope you're understanding the Java programs. So now let's move further and see one more important program, that is string reverse. Here I'm not just reversing the entire string, but I'm reversing the words and the letters present in the given string. So welcome to Edureka. If the whole string is reversed, it will be like Edureka to welcome. Like it will be Edureka will come here, to will be here, and welcome will come here, right? But no, I'm not doing in that way. I am reversing the letters present in the given string. So the string structure will be the same. You can see welcome is in the place of welcome, to in the place of to, Edureka in the place of Edureka. But the letters will take the reverse position. You can see that. So that is what I'm going to do here. So first I have created a class, and then what I am doing, and then I'm just creating a main method and declaring the string as welcome to Edureka. And then I'm creating an array of string and using split function to split this and giving blank. And then I'm storing the temp variable into string array and then printing the output as temp. Okay. Now for I is equal to 0, I is less than 3 because 0, 1 and 2, and increment the I. Now I'm creating the character into a string array and storing it to a character array. Understood? So first I have a character, that is S1. Say this is that. And then I'm giving string array of I. I'm storing it to string array of I and then storing from that to a character array. Then I'm using a for loop for j is equal to s1 dot length minus 1. And if j is greater than or equal to 0, then decrement the j and print s1 of j, which implies the value that is present in j will be split and it will be reversed and it will print over here. And then just give a blank space. And you can then complete your program in that way. So when I execute the program, you can see. So first it printed whatever the string. That is welcome to Edureka because it was stored in the temp. Yes. And then after the reversing of all this, it printed the reverse of that. Correct? So that's how you need to configure your string reverse program. Having understood this, now let's move further and see the last program in the list of basic Java programs, that is mirror inverse program in Java. So mirror inverse is nothing but so whatever is there in this part, if you reverse it, it will be the same. Yes. So that is nothing but mirror inverse. It's nothing but an array is called mirror inverse if its inverse is equal to itself. Correct? So now let's write a program. I repeat. So now say you have an array and its value is 34201. And in the given array, the output will be yes if the index of 0 is equal to value of 3. At index 1, it is value 4. At index 2, it is value 2. At index 3, it has a value 0. And at index 4, it has a value 1. Okay. So at index 1, what is the value? Index 1, 4. And at index 0, what is the value? 3. At index 2, what is the value? 2 itself. At index 4, what is the value? 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. At index 4, it is 1. At index 3, it is 0. So the index and the value should be the same. Like if you inverse it, it should be the same. Only then it will say it is true. For example, you can see index 3 has 0, index 4 has 1, the same thing, right? So now let's configure the program for that. First, I will create a class called mirror inverse. And then I'll write a function that returns true if the array is mirror inverse. So first what I'll do, I'll create a static boolean is mirror inverse of array. So for I is equal to 0, I less than array length, increment the I. If condition fails for any element, then it returns false. Else it returns true. So inside the main method, I'm giving whether the given array is mirror inverse or not. If yes, it will print yes. If no, it will print no. I'll put it in this way. So at array of index 0. What is the value? 1. Yes. At 2, what is the value? 2 itself. At 1, what is the value? Right? At 2, what is the value? 3. At 3, what is the value? 0. So you can see here, if it is reversed, at 0, whether the value is 3? No, right? So if it will obviously say that the given array is not mirror inverse. Let's run and check the output. It will say no only. Yes, but if I change this, say I'll give the array that we had over here, that is 3, 4, 2, 0, 1. So I'll give 3, 4, 2, 0 and 1. Okay, it will print as yes because it is a mirror inverse, right? So you can see that when I run the program, it said the given array is mirror inverse. So this is how you need to configure the program and check whether the given array is mirror inverse or not by writing a method in this way. Okay, so I hope you understood this. And I hope you got a clear idea about all the basic programs in Java. Now let's move to the next section and understand some of the advanced Java programs. So the first program that I will be talking about is binary search program. So what is binary search? So basically it is a search algorithm that finds the position of a target value within the sorted array. And binary search compares the target value to the middle element of the array. Okay. So now let's write a program to find out a middle element, that is a search element. So first I'll create a class and I'll give the 3 values, that is x, return index of x if it is present in array of 1 to r, and if it is not present then just return -1. Okay. So first I'll write int binary search of int array because I want the input as array, and then int left, right and x. So if right is greater than or equal to left, then mid is equal to left plus right minus 1 by 2. So this is if right is greater than or equal to left, then it should be decremented, right? So if mid is equal to, I'll write this, say left value is 2 plus, say if the value of right is greater than or equal to left, say r has value of 3 minus 1 divided by 2. So what will be the output? Mid is equal to 2 plus 3 minus 1 is 2 by 2, that is 1, which is equal to 3. So the middle element will be 3 if I have to figure it out according to this. But if the array element is present at the middle itself, that is array of mid is equal to x, then you have to return the mid element. So if it is 3, then you have to return the value of 3. But if array of mid, say 3, it is greater than x, that is 2, then return binary search of array value, that will be 5, suppose the length, then left value say 2, right mid minus 1, that is 3 minus 1 is 2, and then x value, say it is 1. Okay. Else the element can be present in right sub array. So at that time what you have to do, you have to return array value mid plus 1, that is if 3, if it is a mid, then 3 plus 1, 4, right value, that is this thing, 2 again, and if x is 1. So if we do not find the value present in the array, then what we have to say, we have to just return -1. Now is the time to write the main method and check whether the element is not found at the index or not. Okay. So I have an array, say this one. So I've created an object of new binary search, and then this is my array. Okay. And now the value of n will be array.length, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. How much? 5 is the length of the array. And now I have an x value as 40, that is this one. I want to check where this element is found. So int result is equal to object.binary search array length, this is 0, then n minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, 4, and x is 40. If result is equal to -1, then print element is not present, else print it is found at this particular index. Now let's run and check the output. So you can see it is telling the array element is found at index 4. Yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? If I give the x value as 2, okay, I'll save this and I'll run. So what it will say? It will say the array value is present at index 0. Yes, obviously. See, it said element is found at index 0. So this is how you need to write a binary search program and understand the logic and then run the output. Simple. Now let's see what's the next program. So what is Heapsort? It is a comparison-based sorting technique based on binary heap data structure. It is similar to selection sort, where we first find the maximum element and place the maximum element at the end. Then you have to repeat the same process for the remaining elements. Let's understand that now. So in this, you can see here I have an input data, that is 4, 10, 3, 5, 1. So 4 is at index 0, 10 is at index 1, 3 at index 2, 5 at index 3 and 1 at index 4. And after applying heapify procedure to index 0, what I told, the maximum element, that is the highest element, will be at index 0. And then the next one will be 5. Among this, the next highest is 5. So 5 at index 1, 3 at index 2, 4 at index 3 and 1 at index 4. Correct? So this is how you need to keep the maximum elements at the left, 10, 5 and 4. Yes? So now let's understand the code logic behind this program. So first I'll give int n is equal to array.length, and then for int I is equal to n by 2, that is length of the array by 2 minus 1. If I is greater than or equal to 0 and then decrement the I, then heapify array n and I. Then after that, extract one by one element from the heap, that is I is equal to n minus 1, I is greater than or equal to 0 and I minus minus. If this is the condition, then move the current root to n, that is temp is equal to array of 0. Like I'm creating a temp variable to just do what? To just store the variable, that is the value. So temp is equal to array of 0 is equal to array of I, then assign the value of I to temp. Then call the heapify on the reduced heap, that is array I and 0. And next what you have to do is you have to create a heapify, that is this one, you have to create a method for that. So int array n and I, correct? So largest will be at, initialize the largest as root. So largest will be at I. Then the left will be 2 into I plus 1, that is left one. And the right will be 2 into I plus 2. So now, if the left child is greater than the root, then left will be less than n, and if array of left is greater than array of largest, then assign the value of L as largest. Else, if R is less than n and array of R is greater than array of largest, then assign the array of R value to largest. If largest is not equal to root, that is I, then swap it. You have to swap it in this way, like swap is equal to array of I will be assigned to the largest and the largest will be swapped. And after that, you have to recursively heapify the affected subtree. Okay, so that's the reason we are giving array n and largest. And then I want to print the array of size n, so that is the reason I'm using a print array function, and I'm giving the n value as array.length and I is equal to less than on n and pre-increment. It's not post increment, you have to increment it before, and then print the size array. And finally, you have to give the array and then create an object and call the sorted array. So when you execute the program, you can check the output. It will be as I explained you before. Okay, the highest number is 13. So first it will print 13, 12 and 11 to the left, and then 7, 6, 5 to the right. So first it will give the sorted array, that is 5, 6, 7 and 11, 12, 13. So this is how you need to write a heap sort program. Let's understand what is the next program. Now let's move further and understand how to remove elements from the array list. So say I have an array list called add, and I have j, I, n and o, and I want to remove n from this. So how will I do that? That is, this is an array list. So basically, what is an array list? An array list is the implementation of list interface where the elements can be dynamically added or removed from the list. Also, the size of the list is increased dynamically if the elements are added more than the initial size. Okay. Now let's understand how to remove ArrayList with the help of an example. So I have an ArrayList example and I've created a list for an object of an ArrayList for programming languages. Okay. So now first I'm adding the elements into the ArrayList, say C, C++, Java, Kotlin, Python, Perl and Ruby. So when I print this, it will say initial list will be all the elements present in the list. And now say I want to remove the element at index 5. So at index 5 it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what will be removed at index 5? Perl, right? So that will be removed, and then again it will print the programming languages. Then I want to check the first occurrence of the given element from the array list. That is, I want to remove the first occurrence from the array list. Okay. So that will be, say, Boolean is removed of Kotlin. I want to remove the first occurrence of Kotlin. So after removing, it will print again whatever the list is present. Then I want to remove all the elements that is existing in the given collection. That is, I will create a new scripting languages and then add all the scripting languages like Python, Ruby and Perl, and then I'll remove all scripting languages. So after that, what I'm doing, I'm removing all the elements that satisfy the given predicate. So remove if new predicate of string, I'm overriding a string and checking I want to return a string that starts with C, that is C and C++. Okay, so after that I want to remove all the elements that starts with C. That will be nothing will be remaining in the list. So when I run the program, let's check what will be the output. So you can see the initial list comprised of all this. And after I removed the element at array list 5, it removed Perl as I told you. Then I wanted to remove Kotlin. So that is the reason it removed what? It removed Kotlin. Then you saw that the scripting languages was Python, Perl and Ruby. So after removing all the scripting languages, it only retained C, C++ and Java. And after removing the elements that starts with C, it retained only Java because C and C++ got removed. And after that, clearing everything, it is an empty array list. So this is how you need to write an array list and then go on deleting the elements, go on adding the elements. You can do many things in array list. If you wish to know more about ArrayList in Java, you can check out my video in the YouTube playlist and you can understand the concept of ArrayList in a much detailed way. Okay, so now let's see what's the next program. The next program that we have is HashMap program. So what is HashMap? HashMap is a map-based collection class that is used to store key and value pairs, and it is denoted as HashMap key value or HashMap K and V. And this class makes no guarantees as to the order of the map. It is similar to the hash table class except that it is unsynchronized and permits null values and null key. Now let's understand how to implement the logic in Java. So I have created a hash map. So first I'm creating a method. I'm creating a main method and that I'm creating an object of a new hash map. So as I told you, it contains a key and a value. For ABC it is 10, for MNO 30 and for XYZ 20. Then after that system.out.println size of the map is map.size. And after that if map.contains key of ABC, then assign the value of this to integer A. Then display that. And after that clear the map and print the map. So if map value is empty, say that map is empty, else return the value of the map. Okay, it's very simple. So now let's run and check the output. So see, first it's telling map is empty, then the map size is 3. If you are confused with this, I'll just remove this. So you can see first it said map is empty, then it's telling the size of the map as 3. Yes. And then value of ABC is 10. It's printing whatever the contents that are present. And then value for key ABC is what? 10. So it's printing that and again it's telling map is empty. Okay. So this is how you need to configure your hash map program. Now let's understand one more program, that is circular linked list program. So what is singly and doubly linked list? In case of singly linked list, it is only forward connection. There is no backward, right? But in case of doubly, so in case of singly linked list, it is like the last node of the first element points to first node of the second element. And in case of doubly linked list, it is like the last node of first element by default connects to first node of second element, and also the first node of second element also connects to the last node of first element. But in case of circular linked list, it is like singly linked list first, and the last node of last element will point to the first node of first element. That is circular linked list. There's no backtracking in between the nodes, but the last node of first element points to the first node of first element. That is, it's a complete circle, right? So that is all about the circular linked list. So here it follows the first thing first approach. Here the node is an element of the list and it has two parts, that is the data and the next. Data represents the data stored in the node, and the next is a pointer that will point to the next node. Now let's check the implementation. Okay. So that is, it has in data and the node as next. So public node in data, I am referencing to the pointer that this dot data is equal to data. So first declare head and tail pointer as null, that is head and tail. And then create a function that will add the new node at the end of the list. Okay. So in data, add in data, create a new node, and first check if the list is null. Then assign the value for head and tail as new node. Then point the new node dot next to head. That is, next node will point to head, else tail node will point to next. Simple. And finally, the tail dot next will be head. Since it is a circular linked list, the tail will point to head. Like first point and the last point should join, right? So that is very simple, that the tail dot, the last value of the tail will point to the head. So it will complete a circle. And after that, you have to just print it. Okay. That is, according to the incrementing the pointer, you have to check whether the list is empty, else use a do while and print the values. And finally, you have to add the data and display the data present in the list. Okay. So now let's run and check the output. So the nodes present are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is all about the nodes present in the list. Okay. So now let's move further and understand how to connect to a database using Java. Okay. Or how to configure a Java program in order to connect to a SQL database. So you have queries and there's a drivers that will help us to connect to a database using Java. So basically, a Java database connectivity is a standard Java API for database independent connectivity between the Java programming language and a wide range of databases. And this API lets you to encode the access request statements in structured query language, and then they are passed to the program that manages the database. It mainly involves opening a connection, creating a SQL database, executing SQL queries, and then arriving at the output. So let's check the code logic behind this. Okay. So I have created a JDBC program. So first, I'm going to register the driver, that is my JDBC driver. That is, I have installed the driver. This is how I will configure it. If you wish to know what is the database URL, what is the JDBC driver, how to connect to a database and everything, you can check out my video on Advanced Java tutorial, where I have explained all these concepts in a broader gauge. And then I have set the database credentials as for username is root and the password is, and I have set the database credentials for username and password, and the username is root and the password that I have set as Edureka. And then inside the main method, what I'll do, I'll first register the driver, that is this one. It turns out to be class.forName and register the driver. Then I have to open a connection, as I have already told you before. So for opening a connection, what I need a database URL, that is this one. So this is the basic. I have a database called employee create emp at my localhost. I'll show you that. And after that, I'm creating a statement. So what I'm passing the database URL, the username and password. After connecting to a database, I need to execute a query. So I'll say creating statement. And then I'm going to give statement is equal to connection.create statement, and I'm going to pass the string SQL. I'm going to create a SQL of type string and write my query as select ID first name last name from the table employees. And then I have to execute it and I have to print it in this way. That is ID, age, first name and last name. And then I have to close the connection, clean up the environment. If there are any errors, then cat should handle all the exception. Then if nothing is there, then I have to simply close the connection and print, say goodbye. So now before executing this, so first I will open my SQL command line client and enter the password. Okay. So now I want to list the databases present in the localhost. So I'll say show databases, and you can see there's a database called employee, that is EMP. I want to use it. Simple. And now I want to show the tables present in the EMP database, that is employees. Now what I'll do select. Now what I'll write select star from the table name, so that it will print the ID, age, first name and last name. So this is a database. For this database, I have registered the drivers in order to connect to a database, and then I'm establishing a connection and executing it. So when I run the program, let's see what will be the output. Will it retrieve the same details or will it be something else? So you can see it displayed in this particular format, that is ID, age, first name and last name. So you can see it printed ID for first name, last name and age. Simple. So you can see first 118 Zara Ali, and then same things have been displayed over there, right? This is how you need to connect to a database. And this is how you need to configure your program. If you wish to know more about this, you can check out my videos on advanced Java tutorial, and you'll understand it in a very detailed manner. So now the last program on the list is transpose of a matrix program. Let's understand that now. So what is a transpose of a matrix? So transpose of a matrix is obtained by changing rows to columns and columns to rows. So transpose of a matrix is obtained if the matrix is like A of ij, then it will be A of ji. Simple, right? So you can see here, rows will be termed as columns and the columns will be termed as rows. Very simple. Now let's understand the program for this. I want to give the value of n as 4 because I want to create a 4 cross 4 matrix, and then I want to create a transpose method and enter two array, that is array A and array B. And as you all know, both should be less than n, that is I is equal to 0 to n and j is equal to 0 to less than n. Very simple. So the matrix that is j, that is present in B of ij, if it is transposed, it should be A of j and I, correct? So now what I'm doing, very simple, I'm creating a main method, entering the array, and in B I'm going to create a new array and just transposing A comma B. So what will be the result matrix? B of ij will be A of ji. Let's run and check the output. In A matrix, what was the result? It's 1 in this way, 2 in this way, 3 and 4, right? But when the result came, it is 1 in columns, 2 in columns, 3 and 4, right? So this is nothing but a transpose of a matrix. So I hope you understood this. You can try bigger matrix also. It will give you the transpose. So I hope you understood how to calculate a transpose of a given matrix. And I hope you also understood the various Java programs that I have covered in this live session. Thank you and have a nice day.